and Never Let Her Go is a true crime book written by Anne Rule, focusing on the case of Anne Marie Fahey and how she came to be murdered by the powerful man she was having an affair with. A man who thought he would never be caught. Anne Rule was an amazing true crime writer and a former Seattle policewoman who deeply cared for the victims and the families she wrote about. Unfortunately, Anne Rule passed in July of 2015. I am Teresa, and welcome to the Canvas and Crime Chronicles. On June 27, 1996, 30-year-old Anne Marie Fahey, who was the scheduling secretary for the Governor of Delaware, Tom Carper, had dinner with a man she had been having a secret affair with for more than 2 years. This man was 47 and was one of the most politically powerful men in Wilmington, Delaware. He was the son of a wealthy contractor, a former state prosecutor, partner in a prestigious law firm, advisor to the governor and mayors. Tom Capano was a partner at the Wilmington office of Sal Ewing LLP in 1994 when he became involved with the 28-year-old Anne Marie Fahey. Tom Capano was married with 4 daughters and was finally separated from his wife Kay in 1995. Thomas Capano had a soft-spoken voice and a considerate manner and was liked by many. Although recently estranged from his wife, he was a devoted father to his 4 young daughters, a trusted son of his widowed mother, and the backbone of his family. But sometime after 9:15 on the night of June 27, 1996, when Anne Marie and Tom left a Philadelphia restaurant, something terrible happened to Anne Marie. It would be 2 whole days before her brothers and sisters would realize that she had disappeared entirely. This case would mark the first time in Delaware state history in which a person would be convicted of murder without a body or a murder weapon. Anne Marie Fahey was a troubled, insecure single woman who tried to end an off and on again relationship that lasted for 3 years with the then married 46-year-old Capano, who was controlling, jealous, and would not let her walk away. As written in Anne Marie's diary on April 7, 1996, one of her final entries, Anne Marie stated that for 1 whole year, I allowed someone to take control of every decision in my life. Her plan was to move forward with a kind man. In September of 1995, while still involved with Capano, only because she lacked the strength to get away, Fahey began another relationship with Michael Scanlon. Anne Marie tried her best to get away from Tom Capano and end things, but he would just not let her go. He talked her into having dinner on that June night. The police worked tirelessly to piece together what happened to Anne Marie after her disappearance. On July 26, 1996, Wilmington police investigator Bob Donovan discovered through financial records that Tom Capano had made a purchase at a company listed as Wallpaper Warehouse 2 days after Fahey was last seen in the public alive. It was then that they realized Capano had changed the carpet in his home along with some furniture. They also found Capano had visited a Happy Harry store in Trolley Square on June 30th and asked about blood remover. Investigators finally were able to search Capano's house for 11 hours on July 31st and found 2 tiny drops of blood that they later learned matched a sample of Fahey's blood plasma. A search takes place on August 12th to 16th of 2 local landfills where they try and find the rug, the sofa, and other evidence that had been discarded, but the officers came up empty-handed. Fast forward for more than a year, when October of 1997, federal agents raid the Wilmington home of Capano's brother Jerry and find illegal drugs and guns. Capano's brothers Jerry and Louis agree to begin cooperating with the authorities in November of 1997 to avoid federal charges. This is when the story really begins to unfold. Jerry becomes a cooperating witness and tells authorities he helped Capano dispose of a body in the Atlantic Ocean on Friday, June 28, 1996. He provides other incriminating evidence, including getting rid of a sofa with a basketball-sized blood stain and a rug. His brother Louis said the stained sofa and rug were put into a dumpster on one of their many properties. After the brothers begin to cooperate with the prosecution as part of a plea agreement, Capano is finally arrested on November 12, 1997. As the story goes, after an argument and after shooting Anne Marie in his home with a gun bought by Deborah A. McIntyre, one of his other longtime mistresses, Capano had apparently stuffed the 5'10" body of Anne Marie Fahey into an ice chest or a cooler. This cooler was all of 3'8" wide and had a capacity of 40.5 gallons. This hard plastic cooler would become to serve as a makeshift coffin. Capano would then later try to blame McIntyre for Fahey's death. The day after Fahey's mysterious June 1996 death, Capano asked for help from his youngest brother Jerry. They used the cooler to transport Fahey's body to Jerry's boat, the Summer Wind, which was docked at Stone Harbor in New Jersey. They motored the Summer Wind about 75 miles out into the Atlantic Ocean. Jerry testified he then gave his brother an anchor and chain and supposedly turned his back on the scene unfolding on the deck. After disposing of the body, Tom tossed the cooler overboard as well. We do know now that the cooler would not sink, so Jerry Capano tried to sink it by firing a slug into it with his 12-gauge Mossberg shotgun. In one of the case's most amazing and surprising twists, the abandoned cooler was found floating in the Atlantic Ocean off Indian River Inlet, about 100 miles from where it had been thrown into the ocean by 4 fishermen, only about a week after it had been abandoned in the Atlantic Ocean. The fishermen, who kept it in a shed, turned it over to the prosecutors the day after reading the media accounts of Capano's arrest in November 1997. February 1998, Deborah McIntyre, a longtime girlfriend of Capano, also signs a plea agreement and becomes a witness for the prosecution. She shares that she bought the .22 caliber gun at Capano's request. It was never recovered. McIntyre also turns over her steamy letters she wrote to Capano and begins taping phone calls he makes to her from prison. During the trial, Capano tries to claim Fahey was shot to death accidentally by McIntyre in a jealous fit of rage while she was attempting suicide, but that didn't work for him. Working with Ferris Wharton, a seasoned state prosecutor with nearly 20 years' experience running murder trials, and Connolly, who had never before tried a murder case, they won a first-degree murder conviction and death sentence, even though there was no body, no witness to the killing, and no found murder weapon. It took 2.5 years after Fahey died before the jury hearing Capano's murder trial was sequestered at the Hilton Wilmington near Stanton. Deliberations lasted 3 days, and Capano was finally convicted on January 7th, 1999. Fortunately or unfortunately, however you want to think about it, Capano died on September 19th, 2011 at age 61. He was found dead in his jail cell at the James T. Vaughn Correctional Center State Prison in Smyrna, Delaware. The medical examiner determined that Capano died of sudden cardiac arrest, and cardiovascular disease and obesity were named as contributing factors to his death. Following Capano's death, his brothers Louis and Joseph engaged in a bitter court fight over their family's multi-million real estate empire. What a family. It's a shame that Thomas's narcissistic, controlling behavior would ruin 2 families, not just his family's children, and the family of Anne Marie Fahey. I would like to thank Anne Rule for another one of her amazing, detailed, and written true crime books, and never let her go. Thank you. And please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I will be posting a new story and a new art video every Saturday. Thanks.